Sorcery is a game that takes place across a fantasy land and lets you explore all the way across like a beautiful fantasy map. And if you've played Sorcery 1 and 2, you'll know that each one has at its heart like this beautiful piece of fantasy cartography, and it tries to reproduce that feeling you get when you pick up a fantasy book, and you turn to the first page and you see this amazing, beautiful map, and you just want to be able to go out and explore and have the freedom to do that. And rather than reading the book, you get the opportunity to explore exactly where you want to go within this fantasy land. So Sorcery 3 is the latest part in a 4-part series. We've done some quite new things with this part. In the previous parts, they are huge games. So Sorcery 2 was across a sprawling city where you had to cross it and find your way past all these dangerous traps and negotiate with all these different fantasy characters and creatures. Sorcery 3 is a little bit different in that it's kind of an open world game. So Sorcery 1 and 2 are quite directed in that you could choose which path you would take across the fantasy land, but you were never encouraged to backtrack. And in that respect, it's a bit like 80 Days. You're always going forwards. Whereas with Sorcery 3, we thought we'd try to mix it up a bit.
Have you learned lessons from 80 Days that you applied to the Sorcery series?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, so one of the things that we're changing about this game in particular is that we have this day-night cycle. So we have quite an emphasis on time and how time passes, and that's one of the main features of 80 Days is paying attention to the in-game clock, knowing what time of day it is. Do you need to go to the hotel, or do you want to explore the city during the day? And in the same way, Sorcery 3 changes in each individual location. Depending on the time of day, you might see different content. And on top of that, unique to Sorcery 3, there's actually 2 maps, one overlaid on top of the other, because there are 2 different time periods. One is the present day, and one is the day 1,000 years ago. And so when you look at the map, you can see that there's various parts of the map fading in and out. That's because in this particular region in the fantasy world, time has become unstuck, and everything's a little bit weird and twisted, and you don't know, half the time you might hear a voice behind you and you don't know what it is, and when you look around there's no one there. And it's all related to the fact that the time in this world has become distorted. So as you cross the fantasy land, you might find certain things that will allow you to control this time distortion that allows you to cross between the ancient world and the present world. So there's actually, in this land, there's these 2 different layers, and there are ways to manipulate the way those layers blend between each other. Sorry, this is not the best point to demonstrate the game. We have the iPad all set up with a good point in the game to demonstrate these different concepts.
Okay.